Welcome to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. Here's your host, Steve Teixeira.
Steve is not with us today for this podcast. We decided to do a girls podcast. So thank you, Andy. And today I would like to introduce to you Daniell Miller's daughters. And we are going to take this podcast and we're going to dedicate this time to her. So welcome, Leah Miller and Jessica Jackson. And thanks for being here.
Thanks for having
Yeah, I feel like we have done this once before. We had a little technical problems, but we're going to get through it, aren't we?
Yes.
We're going to do this one
We're
more
excited
time.
to be here.
Yes, I am too. Thank you for being here again. And so anyway, first of all, I want you to tell a little bit about yourself. So if Jessica, you can go first and just tell a little bit about you, and then we'll go from there.
I'm Jessica. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I am a nurse.
Yay!
And I just stay busy raising our boys, living on our ranch, and working.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
you are how old?
I'm 27.
You're 27.
I'm 27. Oh my gosh.
I know. I have a
She
birthday
te-
tomorrow too, so I'm like, yay!
And she teases me all the time. I'm almost 30.
Oh,
And I'm like,
gosh, you're like
I'm not-
barely.
like almost. Give me a couple more years.
Don't rush it, Leah.
27.
Okay, yeah,
27.
27. Okay, Leah, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Leah. I'm 16. I'm a junior in high school. I go to Napomo. And I just play sports, basketball, volleyball, track. And yeah.
Awesome. Love it. I love it. Yeah. Okay, so we did talk a little bit last time just about the age difference. I can relate to that because I have younger sisters, very young sisters, and they have young families. And it's a cool relationship. One thing that I love about it is because of everything that I've been through. The kids help me so much to, when I have those bad days, I always go over there and spend time with them. And it's a little bit different at the beginning because you haven't lived with her in quite some time.
Yeah.
So kind of go over that little relationship with me and walk me through that just for a minute. Because how old were you when she moved out?
You were,
I was like 7 or 8.
yeah.
Yeah, because she.
And
Yeah.
you moved, yeah, I moved
Yeah, I was
out
young.
when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
You moved out when you were
which
18.
yeah, so you were 8.
Yeah.
And so I always tease her that she isn't the only child because
That's
I was
right.
there for 10 years.
That's right, before
but
her.
she definitely acted like the only
There were
child.
only like 2 only children. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you both had your 10 years, and now it's
Yep.
all about Leah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I moved back down to the ranch. It's been 3 years.
Okay, tell me about that story because I know that was super special because they live on the same property together with the grandma and then your mom and dad,
Yep.
and then
With us.
you had just recently your mom was already diagnosed at that
Yeah,
point.
she was diagnosed. So it's been 3 years. And so she was battling for 4. So I just remember I was here at the ranch at some event. I cannot remember what it is.
Probably
It's
a 17
something-
strong event
I want
that
to
you
say.
were. Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
and so I just remember telling my mom, I'm like, I'm gonna be your neighbor. And she's like, what?
What?
I'm
How'd
like,
you pull that off?
I was like, wait, your mom didn't talk to you about this? And so, I mean, everyone was just really excited. I think Leah was the most excited to have me next door.
Right.
But it's just been great. And I just remember having the conversation with my grandma, just pretty much begging her, like, please don't make me wait. Like, I just want to be back home with you guys. Like, I wanted to
Yep.
raise the boys at the ranch. I wanted to have quality family time
Yep.
and just get all those moments that I wouldn't get if I lived in town.
Yep. That's so
And
true.
The past 3 years, like, I would have traded for the world. Like, it was
Oh,
amazing. Everything.
absolutely.
Having the boys right next door to her. And also, too, our grandpa passed away a year ago. So we got extra time with him,
That's true.
doing family breakfast on Sundays, doing, feeding the cows together.
Yeah.
I don't know, just even with her, just the boys got a lot of extra time.
That's neat. I
So-
love hearing that because there is something to be said about living on a ranch and you grow up differently. You know, I remember just with Ryan and Aaron, it was like they go to drive. They already have done that,
Yeah.
They've
Start
driven
really
since
young.
they could really
Yeah.
touch the pedals, It was
Yep.
just a given, That's just what you did. And yeah, it's really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love those. You just have those great memories. So I love that.
Yeah.
And you did live. So let's talk about Papa Dick for a minute because I know he's super special. And for everybody out there that doesn't know this, he worked at Farm Supply for a really long time, and
Mhm.
um, I, he was just the face kind of Farm Supply, really.
Yep.
Just always happy, and I always loved going in there and saying hi to him. But you lost him a year ago, is that right?
Yeah,
Or
a
no?
year ago, last June, I want to say. I think it was June.
Right. And what exactly happened? Because it was just a sudden.
Yeah, it was sudden. I he had a lot of health problems. I
Okay.
don't know exactly. It was just really unexpected. Um, but he got there first.
He did.
So
And
he's
there
in.
was something to be said about that because
Yeah.
I know that he had a really hard time seeing your mom go
Yeah.
through things, and
Yeah.
he always would say she's going to be okay. She's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my dad's friends, when my mom passed away, called my dad and was like, Papa Dick went first to be there so he could,
I thought that.
yeah, to be there to have my mom and be there for her. And he didn't want to see her
That gives
struggle.
me chills. That gives me
Yeah.
chills because I've thought the same exact thing. I'm like,
Mhm.
it was so sudden and so freak to me because I
Yeah.
was like, Steve had just seen him on Friday at Farm
Mhm.
Supply, and we had called your mom and said, he was having a hard time breathing, and then he came home and said, I had a great day,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he was prideful and didn't want anybody
Yeah.
to say that I had a really hard time breathing today or
and
whatever.
it was just like so unexpected too because that his last day he like was on the tractor for the first
Yeah.
time in a while. He had a whole day with Kaden. They planted a tree and he picked you up from school, right?
He
That
picked me
day.
up from volleyball practice.
That day.
Like it was a
Yeah.
whole normal day.
And it was weird because that same day he never took the long way home, but that day when he picked me up from volleyball practice, he took the longest way home.
Did you
and-
tell him about it?
No, I was just sitting. I was like, why? Like, why are we going this far? And then we went home, and he said, I got out of the car, love you, love you. And then like we went to a football game later that evening, and then got the call like right when we got out of the car, and then it was
yeah,
so
he was getting in the shower, getting ready for I think an Optimist meeting,
yeah.
and then that's when he had passed away.
Mhm.
That is just so crazy. But
Yeah.
God does things in I don't want to say mysterious ways, but for a reason. And you don't
Mhm.
understand it here when we're living, and we don't understand it. But it's just so because after everything happened, I thought to myself, I know that he had to be there first,
Yeah.
and just to
Yeah.
for his peace of mind,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he just thought this is just not going to happen,
Yeah.
And I do know that I felt like he was more embarrassed to wear those, the oxygen.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Oh,
didn't
hated that thing.
Yeah.
And I would tell him you need to wear it. Oh, I don't
Mhm.
like that
I
one.
don't like that.
Come on.
Because he wasn't wearing it the day that Steve saw him, and he was having a hard time breathing. He goes, "Let me just put my oxygen on. I'll be fine." And
Yeah.
Steve was a paramedic for a while, so he sat there and he was, sat there for a while
Yeah.
with him, and just to make sure he was fine and felt
Yeah.
comfortable. And then he had called your mom, and I just thought that was just super
Yeah.
interesting. But he will always be remembered. He'll never be forgotten.
Yeah.
He was. I loved him. I
Mhm.
love him still. So I wanted to make sure that we said something about Papa
Yeah.
Dick because he's awesome. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is, because I don't honestly know this answer, is how did you find out about your mom being diagnosed? So do you want to go first, Jessica?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, yeah.
So I worked at a Rio Grande hospital during the time I found out she was diagnosed, and I was pregnant with Kierce, and so I was on light duty, and so I was doing work in the back office, and so I just remember Montisa had called me, and I could tell she was crying, so I knew it wasn't going to be like good, so I like started freaking out. And
Did you
then
talk to Montisa on a regular basis, or did you
Like,
know that was going to be a
we're important events and stuff,
Sure.
like we do check in with each other, but like it was like random in that week, so where I was like, oh gosh, like
And
you
she's
know.
your godmother.
Yeah, and she's my godmother too, so we have a good
Oh,
relationship.
There you go.
Yeah,
I didn't really know that. Okay.
yeah. And so I just remember her saying like has your dad called you? And I was like, no. She's like, okay, well, I just wanted to let you know this is what's going on. I don't want you to freak out. She's going to be okay. Uncle Brian's taking care of her. She has a good team taking care of her. So it was like really calming and like positive.
Gotcha.
And then during the whole time, like I never talked to my mom about it. And she always just knew we were there because she didn't like to talk about it. But I just remember that moment of getting that phone call.
And so what was it like when you saw your mom for the first time?
I just remember
After
I
the
couldn't,
diagnosis.
I tried to like avoid seeing her for a couple hours because I was like a hot mess.
Right.
And I didn't want her to see like my emotions because I
Sure.
was just like a wreck and I wanted to like hold it together for her.
It's hard to process something so big like that.
Yeah.
And everybody processes things differently. And so you're like, I need to stay away for
Yeah. And so I just remember, I think my dad came over my kitchen. There's a lot of times in my kitchen crying with my dad, but just crying and, just trying to process everything. And
yeah. Yep.
And then when I saw her, I had it together where I just gave her a hug and we just brought the boys over, told her we love her. And then from her, I mean, she was positive. She was so positive. I was like, okay, am I like so like emotional? Because she was so positive where she was like not scared at all. Like, she's got this. And I'm like sobbing and she's like, nope, I got this.
Exactly.
We're going to do this.
Exactly. I remember too, the first time that she called me. Well, I remember where I was at, what I was doing, everything that she had called me before she had went to the doctor because she knew it wasn't going to be good. And I just prayed with her and just tried to be as positive as I could. And then I finally got the news with Montisa. She called me.
Yeah.
So, and said that, what it was. And, but tell me the first time that you found out, Leah.
I found out in our kitchen. Like
that must be the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
The meeting place.
Yeah. With my dad, it was like late at night. I think I come home from like a practice or something because I was starting 7th grade and we had sports going on. But I remember it being later. My mom was in bed and he basically just sat me down and was like, your mom has like cancer. And I just asked like, is she going to be okay? And he was just trying to explain it to me the best he could without scaring me because this whole time like nobody really told me anything because I was young through a lot of it, and if I wanted to know something, I would go to my sister, and she'd tell me, but she didn't know anything either, so it was like, because my mom just wanted to protect us and make sure that we were okay, and, but yeah, I was sat down in the kitchen, and then just my dad hugged me, and I cried, and then I went to my mom's bedroom, and I laid in bed with her and just hugged her and told her I loved her, and yeah.
That's hard, but probably the best thing you could do. The best thing that you can do and she fought. That's the best thing. She did. She fought hard and she fought long. But you're right. She had the best attitude. She had the best positive, uplifting attitude that she's like the strongest person I know. Mm-hmm. And that I was... Sorry.
I know. I'm trying to hold it. Because when I cry, I cry.
Yeah, I know. And there's certain things that just trigger things, and you never know, know? And that's the thing it's so hard. But one thing I want to talk about a little bit is that...
He has tissues right there.
Thank you. You're so nice. They're coming in. Do you need some?
Yeah, I need one.
One thing I did want to talk about a little bit is to me it was bittersweet almost because she called, and I think I might have told you before, but whenever she didn't get a hold of me, I had this horrible habit of putting my phone on vibrate or just silent basically, and so she'd call Steve immediately. And sometimes I would think, I would hold my breath. Like, I don't know what she's going to say. I don't know what she's going to do. And this was one of those times. So I didn't get to my phone in time. And she called Steve right away. And we literally held our breath for a minute because she would call and tell Steve, this and this happened or it came back and this is the treatment or blah, blah, blah. And at this particular moment, she's like, I'm going to be a yaya. And I was like, oh my gosh. And we both just like a sigh of relief. Like she was so excited that Jessica was going to have another baby, but
it was twins.
Yeah, it was twins. And she was so excited. She's like, and it's twin. She just was so excited about this whole thing. So walk me through that whole process because it was a process.
So that was this last July actually.
Okay.
And I found out I was pregnant, and the doctor didn't confirm twins, but we just knew it because there were 2 sacs, and we had a video. We saw one baby, and then the second sac, and we saw the other one.
Yep.
And then yeah, we were so excited, and I just remember like telling my mom, like, 'cause she knew I was pregnant, and
Okay.
then we had the ultrasound, and I was like, "There's, I'm pregnant with a baby, but there's
Yeah.
two."
She
And she's
called
like,
she called me
"What?"
right away, and she's like, "Did you talk to Jessica?" I was like, "No." And so then I like
Everyone
dialed
freaked out.
I dialed Jessica really fast, and Jessica, or no, you called me.
Yeah, I called you.
And then she told me, and then I called my mom back, and my mom was like freaking out, like, "Oh
Freaking
my
She was
god!"
so excited, and so then, I had an appointment. I don't know how many. I had an appointment when your follow up, and then which
Because
they
she
were to
said she
confirm.
wasn't going to confirm it
Yeah.
until the 8-week mark or whatever
Yeah.
it was. The
And
doctor
so,
said that.
I at 8 weeks had the miscarriage, and so the way the sacks were placed, I could pass it naturally, but it would have taken like months.
Oh.
And I did not want to like sit around and wait for
Yeah.
for everything to pass, and so I had a surgery done, a procedure to remove everything and heal. So that was really devastating, but I connected with a lot of great women with my tribe mom. I started to just raise awareness and make it to normalize talking about miscarriages because people don't talk about it. And
That's
I just
right.
remember, like, in the moment, that feeling, I'm like, I do not wish this upon anyone. Because it's
Yeah.
like, who do you talk to? Because no one knows how to like start a conversation or talk about it, because it's just, it doesn't happen, but it does happen
All the time.
so
Yeah.
I I've just connected with a lot of women who's helped me heal in the process.
And tell me about that. It's something that you started on Facebook or Instagram,
Yeah,
right?
I started on Instagram. It's Trimon. It's just, again, raising awareness, and I started care packages.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So it's just something for the doctor or someone at the hospital, a nurse, to give to the woman that's had a miscarriage in that moment. And it's just that, like, I call it like a bag of hope. And so it just has like a journal, a pen, a bracelet made by a local woman. I have a lady who also had miscarriages. She made a bunch of rainbow keychains that say Tribe on them.
Oh,
And then we're just
nice.
filling it with like goodies. So they just in that moment have hope. And if they have children, the children also get a bag with a stuffed animal and a book.
Oh, nice.
And so the book is called we were supposed to have a baby, but we had an angel baby instead. And so, and that too is just like, because for me, I struggled with like having a small bump because I showed earlier.
Yeah.
Because I was a surrogate earlier. So and the two boys, so I showed super early.
Right.
And so I just had a bump, and then coming home, and then for my surgery, it was like there was nothing. So it was like I had to learn how to like adjust to that. And so
Sure.
it's just, and it's hard to explain to your kids.
Very
so like
hard.
to have that gift for that woman to give, just to get that feeling away. Just
Yeah,
to, like,
and then to have a book that they can, read
Yeah.
it to their kids and kind of walk them through that,
Yeah.
know, that this can happen. And
Yep.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I
and-
think that's so good.
Yeah, and then a couple months later, we got the go, and I was like, okay. And then I got pregnant again, and then again had another miscarriage in September.
That's very interesting.
Yep, in September, and again, everyone was so excited.
But
And
I do
so-
remember going back to the twins when you were pregnant with the twins. You had allowed your mom to tell
Everyone,
everybody.
yeah.
And she told
Everyone.
everyone.
I
She
was
was so
yep,
excited.
We weren't going to do a pregnancy announcement. She was announcing it, so she
She
told everyone in town knew.
Everybody knew. Yeah. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And I remember going over to your guys' house because there was a fire.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And Kirst came up to
I
me
was such
and
a
said,
mess.
my mommy has 2 babies in her
Yeah.
tummy. And I'm like, I thought it was a secret. And
Yeah.
he knew.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Everybody knew.
Yeah,
It was,
it
yeah,
was
so
great.
that was really sweet.
Yep.
Super, super sweet. But I do love the that you started just awareness because
Yeah.
people don't talk about that, and that's super interesting. And it's very interesting too because I was remembering a while ago when your mom would talk to me about when she was pregnant with you. Which was super easy, obviously. And then when she was trying to get pregnant with Leah for like 6 years, and then
Yeah.
she had miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage, and she's like,
Yep.
Oh, she did.
"You're yes." And so
That's why she's so spoiled.
of course, of course, she waited 6 years to
Yeah.
have this child that,
Yeah.
looks just like her dad, by the way. And and again, that I can totally relate to because
Yeah.
I'm blonde hair, blue eyes, and I have a Italian mom that looks very Italian. So it's very interesting when you're out and about, especially when you're younger, and you're like, "That's your mom," and I'm like, "Yes, that's
Yeah.
my mother."
I guess that your sister, and I'm like, my mom loved that.
Yes, of course.
Of course I'm her sister.
Yes, of course that. Yes, because you look just like your mom and she looks like her dad. I love that though because I can so relate, and she's that's awesome. But okay, so we talked a little bit about your grandfather. We talked a little bit about your mom's diagnosis. We talked about the miscarriage. I would like to talk a little bit more about when things got really bad. That was probably the Monday before Christmas, is what I want to say, is
Yeah.
when you took her to the hospital.
Yeah, I took her in the Sunday before Christmas. It was a Sunday. It was like 3 to 5 in the morning, somewhere in there. My dad just calls me, and I was like, what? Like, what?
What's
why
going
is he?
on? Why are
I
you
freaked
calling
out, like
me?
in panic, you know.
You
He's
never
like, you know,
like those calls.
Yeah, and so your mom's not feeling well. I need you to take her to the ER. And I was like, okay. So I like threw on stuff, grabbed my laptop for work, and I just got in the car. I just remember her getting in there, and she was just like hunched over. You can tell she was like uncomfortable.
Sure.
And I just remember like rubbing her back, and just I didn't want to talk too much because I didn't know if she was nauseous, what was going on. So I just told her like, you know, just you're gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And I just remember like praying for her the entire drive to AG. And then
It seems like hours sometimes. When minutes
oh
go
my
by
gosh,
hours, you
I
feel
got
like,
there so fast. But
isn't that crazy?
it
Well,
felt like
you're
forever,
3 in the
but
morning,
yeah.
4 in the morning, whatever
Yeah,
it is.
and so the hardest thing that I think that with the drive and dropping her off that's so different that, you know, I feel like COVID did affect it, is that usually when someone you take to the ER, you can go sit and be by their side.
Absolutely.
And I just remember like just giving her a hug and just at the ER door and just saying like, I'm not leaving until you want me to leave. Like we're going to be in the parking lot, because I had Jana come and sit with me, and I was like, I'm going to be here,
Right.
and I'm not leaving. And I just had to like retell her like, I'm not leaving, you're not alone, because it's just such a different experience. Like them,
So
I know
hard.
they have nurses that are amazing that don't leave their side, but it's different when you have your family.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's COVID is just, it's made I mean, you need
Yeah.
that advocate back there, and
Yeah.
you need that person to be by you. It's,
Yeah,
it's
and
so different.
I just remember like just texting her saying like, we're out here, we're here for you, do you need anything, like, you
Right.
know. And so
Yeah.
it just went from there.
That is, and Leah, where were you? You tell me about because you had a little bit of different experience because
Yeah.
you were tested positive for COVID or
Yeah,
something.
I tested positive, so I was in our camping trailer, and then my dad came in the morning and told me that mom was in the hospital, and so I just didn't think of it. I thought she just wasn't feeling good. I didn't know anything, and they didn't want to tell me everything because I was alone in the camping trailer, and
Oh gosh.
so
Well,
but
we didn't know the extent of everything either.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
while she was in all her pain and in the hospital, and she still texted me and asked, "How are you? Are you feeling okay?" Like, but I couldn't go see her for the longest time. They tried to get me in, but I couldn't see her because I had to get retested until I was negative, and so me and my mom I tried texting her, but it was very slow, and I just every night, good night, I love you, good morning, I love you, and then when she asked me how I was like, I'm fine, like, how are you? And she said, I'll be home tomorrow, and that was the last thing she said to me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So during the week, because we didn't know like the extent of everything, so we just had found out she was like, oh, it's, you know, I have severe colitis, and
Right.
so with
who's
that,
telling you that? The doctor.
the doctor,
at
because
the
I was
time?
because I have nurses there that I know too, so I'm like just
Sure.
calling, we're all communicating, and
Also, let's go back too, because people that don't know, Montisa also
yeah.
works in the hospital, and
Yeah.
she
was able to go say hi to her, and then
Okay.
Uncle Brian went and saw her, so she had the severe colitis, so it was like that is something we can give medicine for and
sure
get better. So we didn't know what was, and then it was just like because she'd asked us. I told her in the beginning, I was like, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you everything that I know, because it's everything changes.
Yeah, totally.
And so
and it changes quickly. And I mean, when they tell you that you're living one day at
Yeah.
a time, it's
Yeah.
hourly sometimes and afternoon time, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Like just getting through that afternoon, to getting through that morning.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So
Yeah.
And I just remember like everything was just changing, and then it was like I just remember like with the nurse reading a scan, and like then her heart rate went up and just certain things in ICU, and then she's being transferred to Marion ICU, and just like
Right.
on
And
life
this
support.
is all
And
a matter of like a week, not even.
this was
She got transferred to Marion
on Thursday.
the
on Christmas
Day.
And
But
so,
at 2
yeah.
a.m. in the morning is when we
Yes.
got the call.
Yeah, so it was Sunday to Thursday at AG, and then Thursday to Sunday at Marion. But Christmas is when Christmas morning we went there. What time was it? It was early.
It was like 2 a.m.
2 a.m. we get there, and she actually got to walk by the door and see her, but she was on life support, and she was being transported. So then we all drove down to Marion, but we tried, and thankfully we got her tested, and she was negative. We joke and say she didn't even have COVID.
I know,
Gosh,
right?
but
I know.
she was able to see her and
through the window.
yeah,
and
through the window.
when she got home, when she was able to come home, I got to be with her a lot too.
Yeah, she came
Which
home on
is
hospice
nice.
on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and she was home for a few days.
Yeah, she was. We got
So
her
you
for
were able
3
to.
days,
So she was
yeah.
around family, and that's exactly what she would have wanted.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah, it's not
We
easy.
got to snuggle her.
Yeah, but definitely, it's not an easy thing. Period. But that's what I believe. Being around family and friends, and
Yeah.
that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And just leaving them, and I think under the COVID situation makes everything harder with this.
Yeah.
You know, just
We were really thankful to have her at home those past, those days, just to take care of her, and like the support we had was like amazing.
that's
And it's
so
a
good.
lot too. And I got emotional about it because like I don't know how people without a support system do it by themselves.
That's another thing we need to talk about
Yeah.
too, is that you do have huge support system,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even know, like
Yeah.
it's a bond that nobody can ever replace. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know how to describe it, because these are people that have rallied around you, but
Mm-hmm.
you were born. Are you the oldest?
Okay, so yeah, so we have a group. So we have me and Lacey, like we're the oldest ones.
Okay.
And then we have all of the little siblings, like all of them.
And she and Leah's the youngest.
She's the
out of the
youngest.
group.
Yeah, and
Yes.
so it's a great story because it's like generations. So like the grandparents, and then our parents, and then us.
Yes.
And then like I'm the only one that has kids right now, but it's just like I don't know, it's like our tribe, and it's so
It
amazing
is.
because like all of our parents have each other, and then the grandparents,
That's
and then
right.
all of us, and I think there's 11 of us, but there's all the girls, and then Michael and Jace.
Yeah.
Well, and our boys, but
Yeah.
yeah, we
It's
call
like all girls, and then
Yeah.
there's like 2 girls in like each family. Like it's like
Yeah.
2 like kids in each family because
It's awesome.
Jamie, Lacey, Hannah, Bryn.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Kelsey.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so
like
it's so fun
2
when we
girls
get
in
together.
each.
But we call each other sisters, and it like we all are sisters.
Absolutely.
But they just like this group. I mean, we have so many friends and family, but like they're just our sisters. And they like
Absolutely.
we don't even need to tell them to come over. They just show up and like
And that's because you don't
Yeah.
know what you need sometimes.
Yeah.
But you do know that you need something.
Yeah.
And just for them to show up, that's like
Yeah.
exactly what the doctor ordered. Like
Yeah.
that is what I need in this moment right
yeah,
now.
and they know like too, because like we just didn't know what we need. Like we don't. I can't even
don't.
like
they didn't.
function.
Yeah, they didn't even like text us like, "What do you need?" They just showed up and like brought
Like,
whatever
food.
they.
Whatever.
Like they were
Yeah.
folding your laundry.
They come and spend the night with me, or
Yeah.
like they were there at 2 a.m. in the morning.
That's
at
right.
Yeah, and
AG.
Lacey. Yeah.
They just know to be there, and like
Yeah.
they don't ask like, "How are you?" because they know.
They know.
They just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are really the true friends that you have, that you
Mm-hmm.
can rally, or that rally around you, that understand you, and you can open up to them when you know, when you're ready,
Yeah.
you know, or whatever. If you're having a bad day or something triggers you, they're not going to, make you
Yeah.
talk about it. They're going to make you, they just want you to feel comfortable and loved and
Yeah.
supported. And
Yeah.
that, there's something so special about that.
Yeah, and
So
Lacey,
special.
she was just so amazing too with the process with everything. But when my mom was home, or our mom, I say mine, on hospice,
because she feels she's the only child.
yeah, 10 years, because she would stay up with her, and then we had a system. So like my aunt
Like
Amber,
schedule?
yeah, my aunt Amber, Uncle Justin, and I kind of did like the night shift up until the morning, and so I remember just texting Lacey like, "Hey, this is what's going on. Like, I would love if you could just come over." And she showed up at like 11:30 at night, midnight, and we were wide awake until 7 a.m.
Right.
And that time was just like my aunt, because it was really hard. I know I'm a nurse, but like my
Doesn't
nursing
matter.
card went off. I was like, I can't even
That's right.
process medications right now, so I got to be a daughter. And so my aunt and my uncle were like amazing in that process, and we had Meg and my aunt Denise, but everyone was just like so amazing. And Julie, there was the whole group that. But at
Yeah.
nighttime, it was just, I remember Aunt Amber and Uncle Justin just did the meds, and then Lacey and I just sat by her and then
Yeah.
hugged her. We got her comfortable, and so Lacey was my go-to because like her dad was on hospice
That's
too.
right. And that's another thing is
Yeah.
that group has been through
Everything.
hell.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally.
Each one of them.
Yeah.
Each one of them. And so it's super great that you guys, because honestly, something like this could tear people
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
But instead, it really grew. You just,
Yeah.
it just grows closer and closer. And that is
Yeah.
amazing because you're like family, sisters. And
Jamie and Lacey. Jamie was my age when her was she
Yeah.
my age when her dad passed away, so she kind of like knew
Related
and, like,
to and
yeah,
helped.
related.
That's right.
And helped me a lot.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
it
And
was
that,
nice to
and
have
it
her.
is continuing.
Yeah.
It'll be there always because you'll always have that special person and bond because they've been through something similar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you might not feel, you might not process things the same or act the same, but nobody's wrong or right here.
Yeah.
It's exactly, it's however you deal with it is the way you deal with it. And I just
Yeah.
feel like, people always tell me, or I've heard this several times, time is going to heal. And I hate
drives
that
me crazy.
more than anything.
It-
Don't
I
tell
said
me
that today to
If
someone,
anything,
too.
it makes it like
It's
harder.
harder
Yeah.
because all those milestones that they are missing, and I get emotional every time, and I think, oh, I'm going to be good this time. I'm going to be good, and then something triggers, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of triggers. And I know like today I was talking with the guy that's helping do her headstone, and it was like I had to find the picture, and just even seeing the picture I got so emotional. It was like oh my gosh, like I'm never gonna like see, like I'm gonna see her again obviously, but like not in like present time, like not to touch her again, not so to see pictures for me, or is like that's a big trigger. I know it's like, and I want to see pictures, but like it's just like a reminder because you're just in your normal daily routine, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, and then you start
It
to
throws
think,
you. It
start to think
throws
all the
you.
first and the not the first, but like the life events. It just
Totally.
hits you, and so
Yeah.
like I struggle at work too, like just certain things and moments through the day, so it's just like up and down. So
All the
time,
time.
hearing like time will heal.
It
It's
doesn't.
like what?
And I'm not gonna tell you that because
Yeah.
I know
It's hard.
from experience it's just not. And I do have to say that some of the triggers are photos, and it's because he's happy and healthy, and
Yeah.
and that's what I just was convinced that it was going to be okay. And
Yeah.
and it sucks. I mean, it really does. So I can relate to that so much. And anyway, I know that you guys have been through a lot. And I do want to tell you guys too, because I think it's super important. I got to experience your mom in a totally different way because I was working with her. So it's different personality, different, I just got to see her every day. So it was something that you guys have that bond of sisterhood and friendships and all this other stuff. But I felt like I got something too because I didn't know them forever and I didn't grow up here. So I kind of came in and I got to see your mom every single day in a work environment. So it was like, let's go to lunch. Let's do this. And there was highs and lows all the time because, but she always, it wasn't like a friendship that it blossomed over time. It was instant. It literally was instant. There was a connection, and it was literally like, because I remember going to your graduation from high school. I remember things like just
Even there, like
moments.
even when Caden was born.
Caden was born.
You were in the hallway.
I was
Yeah.
in the hallway because I wanted to be there for your mom, and I was
Yeah.
just, I was so there anytime. And I remember one time when your papa died, I was in Grand Junction in Colorado, and all she said to me is, "I wish you were here." We got in the car and we drove all night because I wanted to be there for her. She doesn't say that very often. She didn't say that. She just said, "I wish you were here." And that meant so much to me because if I could be there for her, like I in a blink of an eye, don't even, you don't even have to ask. Like I'm there. So, sorry. Anyway, how are you dealing with everything? Just the grief, the loss, the anxiety,
Yeah.
How do you deal with it? Because everybody asks me that, and I just feel like everybody deals with it differently. So
Yeah.
how do you try to deal
I
with it?
definitely have to like stay strong in my faith and the promises that the Lord has for our life, and just really staying, connected, because that's, I think, helping me get through the most.
Absolutely.
Definitely having family time. I see her
Every day.
well, I have to. I didn't see her for 2 days. She's like, I haven't seen you for a while. I'm like, I'm trying.
It's so
But
important though.
being with
Yeah.
family, our boys, I'm trying to read books, but I found a Netflix show. So I'm just like, just to
Good.
get my mind off things. And then I'm like, the healing will come. But I'm just like, I'm just doing little things to keep my mind busy. I like
And
was
keep it going.
painting bedrooms, doing certain things just to like stay
Right.
busy. And
Exactly. Exactly.
definitely just family time, being with friends right now, our sisters, and
I love that.
just getting together, making it a point to be together, because I think when your mind starts going when you're alone.
100%.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with it, Leah?
The same. Like, I try to be with my friends as much as possible. Like, it's just like when I'm alone, or if I'm sitting at home doing nothing, that's when I'm like, okay, I have to do something.
Yeah.
So I find something to do. Me and my dad started going to church on Sunday
I love that.
here at the
At the ranch.
Yeah.
In the barn.
So,
I love that. And it
yeah.
sounds like you like it. It sounds like he likes it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's really, really important, I think. And it's I still do this, when I'm in the car and some music triggers something, and that is always hard for me, and I like zone, just go
Yeah.
into this trance almost of just remember him singing that song, or music always triggers me, and I don't know what even at church it triggers me, and so there's just a lot of different things, but that always was because you're alone in the car, you just have to go to the grocery store, but for whatever reason,
Yeah.
from point A to point B, sometimes I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Because it's so it's just you're
Yeah.
in that zone of thinking, and your mind going, and you're it's definitely
Yeah.
hard. It's definitely that's the biggest thing I could say is keep your mind busy, be around people, but you're still gonna have those moments, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's part of the process, and
Yeah, I tried. I think it was probably like a couple days after she had passed away, and I did frames for her pictures, for
gotcha.
everything. And I remember being in Marshall's, and I think for me the hardest thing too is like being in public and stores and stuff. I still haven't gone to the grocery store. Devontae has to go, because
I hate going
remember
to the grocery
yeah,
store.
I can't do it yet. So I just remember I was in Marshall's, and I was like, obviously I'm still broken and emotional,
100%.
but like feeling how I'm feeling, and like everyone I just felt like was like so happy in Marshall's, and I was just like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm a mess, and like I just remember crying
Why
at
am I here?
Marshall's.
Yeah.
Why am I
crying,
here? I
and
don't need anything.
Like I remember seeing this girl that I went to school with, and I like needed to go hug her, because I was like, I just needed to hug someone.
Because she felt familiar.
But it wasn't.
right?
It was. I walked up and it wasn't even her, and I was like, "Oh my god, that would have been so embarrassing." But I was like, I just needed to hug someone, and so I told Devontae, I'm like, I can't do stores right now. So he does the grocery stores. Like I'm not even mentally prepared. Like I could do it in San Luis, but like in Napomo, I cannot do
It's
it.
hard.
AG is hard, but like just to see too many people and talk to
And
people.
a lot of times people don't know what to do or what to
Yeah.
say, so they'll do like literally they'll look at you and they'll be like,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, please don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I so want to go, please don't do that, because that is
Yeah.
like it. And
Yeah.
I would have just run, because
Yeah.
I'm a runner. Like I go to Salinas just to get away, and and
Yeah.
see my nephews and be able to be around people like the little
Yeah.
ones, because they're innocent and they're sweet,
Yeah.
and they're they say funny things, and I get to
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
Yeah,
But
and
you're
she
right,
knew
stores,
everyone, and everyone knew her,
everybody.
Like
which
she
is
knew,
great. Which
she
is
knew
great.
to like check out people in Vaughn.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Every store,
Yes.
like,
And you're like,
the ladies
what?
at the bank,
Yeah.
everywhere. So
Right.
like it's great. All the life she has impacted. It's
Sure.
it's great. It's amazing.
But it's hard
it's
right
hard
now
right
to
now.
be, because honestly, and I'm sure this has happened to you too, is that people will come up to you because they know your mom, but you have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And they have this conversation with you like you're their best friend, and you're like, I don't know your name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and you're embarrassed to say, I've literally told Steve, I've talked to a girl for 20 minutes in Walmart and I don't even know her. And he goes, why did you do that? I go,
how are you
what are you
supposed to
supposed
get
to
out
do?
of it? Yeah.
Like, I so wanted to like
Yeah.
run, you know, but
Mhm.
you're just is stuck in this position
Yeah.
and you don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, and I just in that moment too, I'm always like, okay, I'm at this place for this point for a reason, right here. Just take it in that moment.
Right.
So I try to be positive in like every moment, but like it's so hard to like be
That's
positive.
good. And
but I
you
am
do
trying.
have to
Yeah.
talk to yourself and talk yourself through it and
Yeah.
stuff. But I do want to talk one last thing, just
Okay.
wrapping it up, and your favorite memory. I know, Leah. So do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
So I have a lot of favorite
I know.
memories,
It's
but
hard to.
but my
pick
one were like in the moment where I just saw like pure happiness, and like I just remember the moment was when Kaden and Kierce were born.
Oh,
And I just remember like the picture with like Kaden that she had, and but the moment with Kierce was even. I just feel like that's the moment because she had a appointment for her feet. It was related to the treatment or something she was going through, and she had an appointment. But we were at the hospital. She was there too with Kierce. It was like 3 a.m., 3:30. We got there. Like everyone loads up. We're
Yep, we're
going
all
to the hospital
going.
just because going to labor, and so I just remember everyone was there, and then she had a foot appointment at 10 o'clock. And I was like, I got this. Like, my mom's going to be here. And, you know, so
Right.
I just told my doctor, I'm like, I cannot have this baby until my mom gets back. Like, it's staying in.
Yeah, you better figure it out.
And I just remember it was like, she got there in time, but the doctor comes in and he's like, I'm sorry, we need to get him out. Like, he can't stay in there
She
anymore.
like was running down the like
She was running?
hospital. Like,
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I got to text her mom, I'm coming up the elevator. So right as she like came in, like he was born. And so I just remember, like, obviously I had my bonding time. Devontae had his bonding time, but like she got him so quick in her arms, and she was
Oh,
just like
so
so
excited.
happy. And so I just think like seeing her in those moments, in those pictures, like there was just so much happiness. And
Oh,
like
totally.
I love that moment.
Yeah.
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 Wasn't Kierce's name like based off?
Yeah,
of her?
and so Kierce too. So in the moment, there's this song called Oceans, and it's talking about like being fierce and the Lord's love and the journey of your life. And in the moment of when I found out she had cancer, that's the song I was listening to.
Oh.
And so the name all into Devontae was like, what about Kierce? And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do something with fierce. And then because of my mom in that moment,
yeah.
and then we wanted Kay, so we're like, oh, Kierce, it's perfect. So too, it was like an honor to like being Kierce because that's such a powerful meaning.
Yeah.
But yeah, she loved that too, and just definitely that moment I'll always
So
cherish.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So sweet. Absolutely. Yeah. I know Leah's, and I just love this because it so is Daniell.
her.
It's so Daniell. Yes.
Well,
I know.
I don't even know how to start this.
They were buying their Christmas tree
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
We were buying our Christmas tree, and my mom had her like heart set on this one tree, even though it looked like all the other trees in the lot. She wanted this like certain one. And so she was like telling me all about it, and she was telling my dad to come here so we could get it. And then this guy hears her like, cause she was like yelling that it was a perfect tree and that she wanted this tree.
Yeah.
So this guy goes over and he like takes the tag off the tree, and so now my mom saw that and she was like, he stole my tree.
With every F word.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then my
Bleep,
dad, I
bleep,
guess,
bleep.
said he was
Yeah,
like,
my dad's
Merry
going around,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody, Merry
Sorry.
Christmas. Like,
She
So-
obviously did not get that tree.
no,
Nope.
but she got one that looked exactly
It was
like
pretty. The tree was so pretty.
Yeah.
So I
But
guess
that's
you
not
could've
the
said,
one
like,
she
sorry
wanted.
to the guy.
Not the one she wanted.
Sorry
but
to the guy if he's
yeah.
watching.
That was like the funniest memory, and just like the
And it literally was just a month ago. A
Yeah.
couple months ago.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then just the basic like her happiness at my basketball games and
Yeah, she's always decked
all
out. in
my
gear.
FFA events and sporting events. So yeah,
Fair.
fair, definitely fair. That was
Oh.
like her
That was her zone.
yeah
That
fair
was her
week.
zone. Well,
Fair week she took all work off and like that was like
Oh,
her
that
week.
No
was
one
her
messed with
thing.
her. That is her
No,
thing.
that was her thing. Because remember, I worked with her, so
Yeah.
she's like, that week I
Yeah.
have off. I don't know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
I said, well, we better close the office because
Yeah.
I got to be there too. And she's like, oh yeah. And if I remember right, we had to go get Aaron and Miss Leah because they were like picketing and doing their little
Oh my
I
gosh,
eat
yeah.
beef, you know. I was like, she goes, I go, what are you doing?
Oh yeah.
And she's like, I got to go get Leah. And so who do we see? Aaron's
he's
totally.
right in the middle of it, like, and I'm right there videoing. I'm like, yes, Aaron, you go.
So it literally, they have these
Yeah.
signs that say "Eat, we eat
Yeah,
beef"
I
or
remember
whatever
that.
it is, and it's on the back of like a Budweiser thing.
That's-
I'm like, oh my gosh! Here, I
That
didn't
was
even
a
think
great
that.
fair memory.
That
for
was a
sure.
great fair memory because seriously, like I'm going up there with your mom to go get Leah, and I see Aaron. I'm like, you are in the middle of this. Anyway, so we laughed so hard because that is just typical of fair time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's,
you know.
I met Ryan there for my first time too. We were, I don't know if you remember this scene, but we were watching it, I don't know, the auction or some show in the pig barn.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that bigger area.
Yes.
And I remember I had Kaden, and were you showing? But I don't know if you were showing. You were showing, or maybe your first year. And hi, I'm Ryan. I just remember meeting him.
Always would
Yeah,
say
Ryan
that.
Share, and I was like, oh, hi.
And you probably had saw him 15
Yeah,
other times before
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly. But that moment,
Oh
he
my
was
god!
wanting to
I
introduce
was like,
himself.
I want to be friends with him because I don't know if we had met yet though. I don't know. We probably have, but
Okay.
But then I just remember like, oh, I want to be friends with him. Like he's
Oh.
so fun.
He is.
But
he
yeah,
is-
Fair has like so many memories.
Oh,
Yeah.
so many memories. So much fun.
It's great.
So many awesome things. But I do have to say, like, Ryan, I always say he's just one of a kind. Like, one of a kind. But I have to say with Daniell, she's just one of a kind.
Yep.
There's no one like her.
Yep.
No one that will ever be like her. And she is just one of a kind.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
God doesn't make two of them like that.
No.
They're just,
Yeah.
but they were so close together, you know, and
Yeah.
they really, really had a connection. So I treasure that
Yeah.
so much. So anyway, I think we'll wrap it up. Is there anything else you guys would like to say? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you. For
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah, and thanks. We got to honor your mom today. We got to talk about her, and I love everything about that. So anyway, I just want to end and say attitude is everything. Thank you.
You've been listening to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. To be part of the show, make a donation, or request more information, go to 17strong.org. That's SEVENTEEN strong.org.